Sebring International, a legendary motorsport venue located in Sebring, Florida. Known for its challenging 3.74-mile layout with 17 turns, it's most famous for its endurance racing and tough, bumpy track surface. The track was originally used as a racetrack in 1952 after being a World War II military airfield. Little interesting tidbit, the unique worn asphalt surface, which adds to its difficulty, was created from rough recycled asphalt, making it a true test for drivers and machines alike. It's considered one of the most historic and grueling circuits in the world, and today we have two races here at Sebring International. First up is our fixed series featuring GT3 machinery. A little later on, we'll get to the sprint series, 5 minutes longer, same machinery, a little higher rated drivers as far as iRating goes. I'm Rob Campbell in the booth as well with me, Richard Swindells. Rich, we're at the penultimate round here of the inaugural Throttle Freaks season. This is the last stop before we head to the finale in Imola next week. What are you expecting to see out here tonight from our drivers? We still have some battles raging up and down through the AM and Pro side of things, and even some battles in the team side of it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting night. Sebring, I think most of these drivers are very familiar with. It's really going to be question of who manages the bumps and the different surfaces the best. We've got a lot of close racing going on. We've got, it looks like, some really close times in qualifying so far, and I expect to see some good, tight racing. People looking to maybe move up the ladder for season points.
Yeah, as we mentioned, end of the season. Let's take a look here at the schedule quickly to see where we've been. We started out at the Red Bull Ring. We headed off to Watkins Glen. Followed that up with a trip to Portugal to Circuit Algarve. Magellan was stop 4. Round 5 saw us at Road America, Circuit of Americas for round 6. Then we went off to Road Atlanta for round 7. Le Mans last week was round 8. This week, Sebring, and then we finish it all up next week at Imola. So I suspect to see a bunch of battles out there, Rich. Don't expect to see many of our drivers really giving much quarter out there as we're fighting for every last point they can garner this evening.
Yeah, there's no sense saving it now. It's now or never. We got 2 races left, and if you want to move up, you got to make some advances now.
Yeah, I mentioned it as we do have some championship battles here. Our current championship leader on the pro side of things, Tyler Graff. I think with a strong showing here tonight, I didn't take and do all the calculations as far as drop weeks and so forth, but strong showing tonight might be able to put Tyler the ability to clinch the pro championship here tonight, Rich.
Yeah, I think it's really Tyler's to lose now, and I think you're right. I think he can lock it down with a decent finish tonight. He's had 3 wins on the season thus far, 7 top 5s, 2 poles. He's had an incredible season, but right behind him, Brett Thurman, he's had 2 wins, 6 top 5s, 3 poles. So, the wins have been spread out amongst several drivers this season, but Tyler Graff has been the most successful thus far.
Yeah, Brett Thurman was the class of the field, I guess we could say, last week at Le Mans, putting it on pole, getting out to an early lead. Had a little bit of a challenge mid-race, but after the pit stops, he was able to push forward again and take the win. So right now, sitting in 6th place in qualifying, a couple spots back of Tyler Graff. We should probably take a quick look here at the championship standings while we have a moment. Let's take a look at the pro side of things here first. As we mentioned, Tyler Graff leading the way, 303 points. That's a little over 60 points, or a little over 60 points ahead of Brett Thurman in 2nd spot. So pretty much clinched the championship for Tyler as long as he finishes the race. David Bush III, who was lingering around 2nd for most of the season, falling 3 points back of Brett Thurman, but strong showing the last couple of races. Could still see jockeying for position in the top 3. Jason Park currently in 4th, a little ways back. Jay Steffi in 5th. Jarrett Keane holding down 6th. Patrick Farrell, Felix Feliz, and Andrew Trickick. Colin McKenzie rounding out the top 10, and we'll quickly just kind of scroll through the rest of the drivers there in the pro side of things, and then we'll hop over to look at what we've got on the AM side. So here we go. Rich, why don't you take us through the AM standings quickly?
Yeah, in the AM side, Walden right now has got a pretty decent lead, and he may be able to lock things up if things go really well for him tonight. Kevin Bergquist in 2nd. Kevin was leading for much of the season, but has now followed 2nd. Jacob Fickner is in third place, still within range of Kevin. Then we have Neil Alexander, followed by Robert Jeffries. Then Luke Davis, followed by Ross Sortino, Drew DeWeese, Zach Mosley, who's not with us tonight, and Alex Hillman.
Yeah, I was just having a quick look through the timing and scoring while you're going through that, Rich. I do not see Waldo Walden in session here this evening, so I'm going to say he's probably not going to lock up the championship tonight by via of not being here, but we'll have to see how that
I think I remember
works
him
out.
maybe. I think I remember him maybe saying he was missing this week, and I just forgotten that. So I guess Kevin's looking for all the points he can get. But in the team championships, SRT, it's been a pretty close battle all season long, but right now SRT Green has got a 41-point lead over Riot Motorsports, who are followed closely in third by Lunatic Racing, just 4 points behind. Then we have BNO Cardomania at 430, followed by SGE Esports at 411. Got a good field here. 16 different teams represented, and really, if we go all the way down through the top 10, all of them scoring a fair amount of points, Rob. So good team showings from a number of participants.
Yeah, and with taking the best two results of each of the team drivers, so they can have up to 3 drivers on their team, top 2 results factor towards the points, so there's still plenty of room in the team championships for some of the teams to jockey at around position. I think it's been almost every week we've seen a different team up top with not really one team maintaining top position more than a week or two, so been a lot of jockeying there and still a lot of jockeying to go. But as we follow around, Kevin Berquist, currently our second place driver in the AM championship, looking to capitalize on Waldo Walden not being here. But right now, Kevin only sitting in 21st in qualifying. That would put him actually 8th overall in the AM side of things too as well. So probably not exactly where he was envisioning his start, trying to capitalize with Waldo not being here.
Yeah, but points are points, and that should close up the gap somewhat. Anyways, we're going to pick it back up. We've got Felix Feliz. Felix is having himself, he looks like he's sitting 8th place right now in the season, but sitting 5th tonight. Oh, just moved up to 3rd with that great last lap effort. Nice job, Felix.
Yeah, it looks fairly strong as far as a Porsche contingent up at the top of the field. David Bush III in the Lambo, currently sitting in 2nd place. And then the majority of the rest of the top 10 is going to be Porsches with a trio of Acuras mixed in there. So it'll be interesting to see if the Acuras can offer something towards the Porsches. We raced here last night, Rich, in a couple of Acuras. It was the middle of the day, though, a little hotter track temps than what the drivers are seeing out here tonight, as they're dealing with 28-degree track temp and only 26 degrees Celsius air temps. I think our race last night was somewhere around 100 degrees Fahrenheit as far as the track temp, so the tires were a little slippery, a little slidey towards the end of the race. So
I actually took left side tires last night, Rob. I've never done that before, but at my pit stop I took left sides because it cost me nothing, and I don't know if it helped or not, but these drivers, I don't expect to be doing that in these cooler temps.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think we're going to be finishing up the race, if I remember correctly, looking at the session before time. We're going to be finishing up somewhere just around sunset or maybe just after sunset. So track's just going to get cooler as the race goes on, and still plenty of drivers here to battle. We got 24 cars, looks like, in the session. So we should have a number of drivers battling up and down the field as we're still waiting for timing and scoring to kick over. We didn't really have any drivers that crossed the line before the timing clock ran out. They were able to go that extra lap, so everybody back into the pits. I was going to say putting their setups on, but this is the fixed setup series. We'll see the sprint series later where the drivers can actually go with a qualifying setup and then put a race setup on after. These drivers are stuck with their fixed setup for qualifying and for the race itself, so they're going to have to deal with that. But that just makes it even more interesting, Rich.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night of racing. Sebring always brings out some great competitive vibes, if you say. Anyhow, sitting on pole tonight, our championship leader, Tyler Graff, followed in 2nd by David Bush III. Looks like he's making a comeback now. Felix Feliz is in 3rd, followed by Jason Park in 4th. Then we have Andrew Trickett, followed by Herbert Pinedo, coming off his first podium of the season. Jared Keane is followed by Colin McKenzie. Rounding out our top 10, we've got Brett Thurman and Jay Steffi.
And then we find Seb Gauthier in 11th, and then our top and driver, Ross Sortino, in 12th. Behind them is going to be Alex Hillman in 13th. Neil Alexander going to start 14th. Dale Peterson in the 15th spot. David Morris in 16th. Andrew Vernaro going to start 17th. And Jacob Fickner in 18th. Luke Davis in 19th. Rounding out the top 20 is going to be Ian Cabana.
Yeah, and rounding out our field today, we've got a great field. Robert Jeffries in 21st, followed by Kevin Burgess 22nd. Then we have Drew DeWeese in 23rd, followed by Scott Jeffries in 24th.
Yeah, 24 strong showing on the field here. Looks like pretty much all of our drivers have made it to the grid. We're waiting for, looks like Jared Keene is going to be the last car to grid up. And then it looks like we're doing...
Rob. Oh, no. It's a whole lap.
Yeah, I think I'm going to blame this one on Nick McLaughlin. I think that he actually changed it from being a night race to a little earlier, and I think he probably forgot to click on the short pace lap. But all that's going to do is just give us a little more time to admire this track here tonight, Rich.
Yeah, the track and the beautiful liveries. By most of the cars who aren't SRTE, nothing against their liveries, but they look mighty similar, if you know what I'm saying. Brett Thurman, coming back off his back-to-back wins, is now sitting in 9th, and he's going to have a difficult time in holding on to his second place position in the championships, with David Bush III sitting right there on the front row, Rob.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if David Bush III is able to hold on to that spot. A little bit of a adventure last week for him at Le Mans. I believe he and Colin McKenzie, teammates, got wrapped up in a little bit of a snaggle towards the end of the race. So definitely be wanting to not repeat that here again this week. So we'll see if they can stay.
That's a nice way to put it, I think. A snaggle.
We'll see if they
have to
can
put that one in the memory bank and add it to the vocabulary, Rob.
Yeah, add that right up beside Razzle Dazzle. So. But it looks like David Bush is expecting this one to end under the lights. He's got the full endurance light package going on the front of his Lambo. Let's see if any of our McLarens have it too as well. It looks like Neil Alexander's got the lights there, but they're not on. Andrew Vernaro as well. He's got the lights out there. I don't think the Ferraris have a endurance light package. They just have the extra set of lights in the center. And I know the Porsches don't have the endurance lights on them at all.
I sure hope all that extra draw on the battery doesn't hurt David's chances there, Rob. He's putting out a lot of wattage of lots of lumens up front there.
Yeah, we're not racing electric vehicles yet, Rich, so no real concern as far as that, but hopefully they've got the batteries juiced up, no alternator issues on this one. So another 35-minute race per usual. Our drivers will need to make I guess they don't need to, but trying to save enough fuel at Sebring to not have to come in and pit is a bit of
not going to happen.
A non-starter. So our drivers will have to come into pit. They won't need tires. Although we heard Rich mention that he took tires yesterday, but again, that was about 3 times the track temp to what they got here tonight. So they shouldn't need any tires, just some fuel, a little splash and go. It'll be interesting to see if any of our drivers play a little bit of strategy here tonight, Rich. Sebring can be had for an undercut. Sometimes it's advantageous to cut in a little under a driver if you're battling with somebody trying to get into the pits, get that service, get a little bit of clean air back out on track, and try and work up your way. So see if any of the drivers pop in early.
Yeah, certainly. Normally, I'm not a fan of the undercut, but I had my own difficulties sometimes getting by somebody, and if you feel that you're being held up, it's a lot easier to pass in the pits sometimes than it is on the track. And I'd expect to see a few drivers taking advantage of that situation, but generally not the guys up front. The guys up front are usually going to go very deep into the pit window.
Yeah, usually it's usually the strategy to go as far as you can. Try and maximize your quick laps towards the end of your fuel load is usually the best bet, but we're heading on to the back straight. I believe they call this the Fangio Straight, Juan Fangio Straight. So heading up to the famous Sunset Bend. See Tyler Graff trying to urge the pace car along a little bit. The Barney pace car driver isn't buying it. Looks like he's even slowing down a little bit. So we'll have to see if Tyler can urge him along.
We need to take bets, Rob, and see if Barney's off strike, if he's back to work or not tonight. I guess we'll find out shortly.
Yeah, well, we'll see if he waves the flag in a moment. Into the final corner, our driver's getting set up to start the penultimate round here, Rich. Okay, let's go. Throttle Freaks Racing Party's got the flag up. Let's see if he waves it. He's working
Oh,
tonight.
there we go.
Tyler Graff going to get the jump, hold on to top spot. Looks like Felix Feliz trying to put some pressure on the inside of David Bush III. Looks like Jason Park going to try and make it 3 wide into turn 1. David Bush III going to go out wide into the dirt. He's going to have to gather that back up. They fan out to the inside. It's like everybody seems to find a place. Nobody really off track. No real instance here. Nothing really flagging and timing and scoring. So well done by all 24 of our drivers here. Getting through the first number of corners fairly clean.
Yeah, a couple drivers went off track, but nothing big so far. Everybody's getting through relatively clean. We're following up Jared Keane driving it hard, and well, look at these guys going 2, and they're trying to squeeze almost 3 wide, but there's just not enough room here as they go into the tough right-hand hairpin here, leading up through the little S section, going 2 wide through there. Everybody getting through clean, and nice tough battling going on so far.
Yeah, tough battle here between Jared Keane and Colin McKenzie. McKenzie in the blue and white Acura up ahead of that SRTE green machine of Jared Keane. Jay Steffi slides in between Brett Thurman and Jared Keane. So that's going to drop Brett Thurman back another spot now to final position in the top 10. So we'll see if Brett's able to put his head down and push forward here. His championship compatriot here, he's trying to pop off second spot. David Bush the third, down 1 spot as well into 3rd place. So both losing a spot early on in this one. We'll see if they're able to charge back forward. But right now, it looks like Felix Feliz feeling hungry, trying to chase after Tyler Graff.
Yeah, Tyler Graff is doing what Tyler Graff does best, and that's lead this field so far. Felix Feliz looking strong in second, and David Bush third after that little off track on turn 1, right back in the hunt, sitting in 3rd place, following along nice and close, looking to get that position back.
Yeah, it looks like he really wants to get that position back as it stands right now. It doesn't seem like any fuel saving early on here, Rich. Pedal all the way down to the floor, pushing as hard as they can. See if the Lambo, which isn't really used all that much by most racers anymore, they can put some pressure on the Porsche, which seems to be the belle of the ball here in this series. Rich, a majority of our cars are in the Porsche variety. A lot of the drivers opting for the Porsche in the fixed series here. I tried actually driving the Porsche around here a number of weeks back for another league, and I found it was a little tricky through Sunset Bend. It was good when the tires were fresh, but as the tires started to wear out, it got really dicey as you were heading into Sunset with the rear motor setup of that car. The really pendulum effect was starting to play a role towards the end, and you really had to hold on to the back of the car. So it'll be interesting to see as the race goes on if our Porsche cars start to suffer in the mid-motor cars of the Lambo, the Acura, and the McLaren, and the Ferrari start to push forward.
As the season's gone by, the Porsches have really, we used to see a lot of them spinning out, and I think the drivers have got that a little under control now, and really have picked up the pace. I see from timing and scoring, Rob, that something may have happened to Drew DeWeese. I don't know if you've got a replay on that or not.
Oh, I do, Rich. Since you asked. Here we go. Let's take a look at what happened to Drew DeWeese, putting some pressure on, I believe that possibly Kevin Berquist or Ian Caban up ahead. Oh, just too much of the curbing. And we've both driven the Acuras here this week. We can tell you that the Acura does not like jumping the curbs, and you see exactly what happens when you do that. So luckily for Drew, didn't get into any barriers, no real damage on the car, maybe a little bit of undercarriage damage, but should be able to get back on track and start to push forward again.
Definitely, and we'll pick it back up. We've got Herbert Pineda. Herbert getting his podium last week, sitting in 6th place right now where he started. Herbert following along behind Andrew Trickett, Jason Park. A little bit of a train going on. Oh no, Herbert, I shouldn't have spoken about you. Sliding, but holding on. Nice save by Herbert Pineda there. Porsche getting a little bit loose, going across those bumps, and getting back on track now, but losing a lot of positions in the process.
And as we mentioned that, David Bush III making a move on the inside of Felix Feliz. He's going to get himself back up into 2nd spot. So D. Bush recovers after losing second early on to Felix Feliz. He's going to send Felix back to 3rd place where he qualifies. So now all of our top 5 back into qualifying order as we see Andrew Trickett right now, our fifth place car, feeling a little bit of pressure from Colin McKenzie. McKenzie looks to the inside, Trickett trying to defend the right side. Trickett will have the inside to the next corner, though. It's going to be a matter of McKenzie trying to outbrake him on the outside. Trickett will have the preferred line, but it's a chicane. It's going to weave back and forth. Trickett in that Porsche going to hold on to fifth place. McKenzie's going to have to try and find another way around.
Yeah, that's the best place to make a pass, I think, on this track, Rob. There, or going into turn one, and just not enough there to make that move happen. Trickett doing a great job of defending against Colin, and they're going to keep going and live to fight another battle, another corner, a few corners down the road, I think.
Yeah, it looks like Trickett was able to get through that last sector a little quicker than McKenzie. The Porsche seemed to like that section a little bit better, but Acura a little bit or top speed. So the quicker, faster sections, that's where McKenzie's going to be able to close back up on the Porsche. So should get a strong run through the straight here. We'll see if he's able to make a move into Sunset. You see him closing up tight on the back of Trickett. So Trickett's going to really need a grade A Sunset bend here to hold off the charge of that Acura.
Yeah, there's a few different lines you can take, and the inside line it definitely has its advantages, but it's the more bumpier portion of the track. Looks like the drivers aren't cutting it too tight. Trickett, though, continuing to lead along, going out, exit, going down the main straightaway, leading into turn one. They're following nose to tail, no changes at this point.
Yeah, we have an interesting battle shaping up here, Rich. We got a Porsche leading an Acura, leading a Porsche, leading an Acura. Four-car battle here, so we'll be able to see the ebbs and flows here between the two different manufacturers. Which one works a little better in which section? You can see the twisties are going to play well to the Porsche, where the heavy braking and downright horsepower sections are going to play a little better to the Acura.
That Acura definitely has some good brakes. I used all of them and then some last night, and it was a lot of fun. You really stomp on that brake pedal, and it bites. Continue following along, though. We've got Colin McKenzie sitting in 6-up-2 positions, falling behind Andrew Trickett. A very hard charging Jared Keys right behind them, and Jay Steffi falling along behind them.
Yeah, it looks like this battle's gone a little stagnant here the last lap or so. Let's pop back up and see as David Bush III has caught up to Tyler Graff. Tyler Graff was able to open up a bit of a lead early on, but David Bush III starting to reel him back in. He's closing up quick here the last few corners, Rich. It's be interesting to see if David Bush III's found a little something once the tires have come in on that Lambo. Possibly Tyler Graff trying to save his tires a little bit, as we've already seen one Porsche go off in Sunset Bend. I suspect it won't be the last one.
No, David, after having a couple of bad results in the last couple of races, really making a charge here, and a strong start. We're on lap 4, 7.5 minutes into this 35-minute race. David Bush III doing a great job applying pressure to Tyler Graff.
Yeah, we're going to head into Sunset Bend. This is going to This is going to end at lap 4. Come around to start lap 5. See the various lines there. Looks like Graff holding a little bit of tighter line, Bush letting it drift out a little bit. They both come right out to the wall at the end. You hear the roar of the V10 as it went by compared to the flat 6 of that Porsche 911 GT3. David Bush tucked tight up on the back bumper now of Tyler Graff. I wonder if he might go into a little bit of a fuel saving mode here, try and save some fuel and just try and hop over him in the pit cycle. But just behind them, Jason Park now has gotten around Felix Flees. It's going to move him up into third place. We'll see if Park able to use that speed of the Acura to close up on that battle up ahead. Felix Flees might want to stay tucked in behind and just get towed up into that battle, making a 4-car battle for top spot.
David Bush III has shown over the course of the season that he's fairly effective at saving fuel, so perhaps he'll stay there. But at this stage of the game, if I'm David Bush III, after the last couple of weeks, I'm going to make a charge. I'm going to want that victory, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's take a quick look here at how Jason Park got around Felix Feliz. Looks like he went around the outside into turn 1. You really have to commit to this move here. Looks like Feliz bailed into the braking section, didn't want to get caught up into something heading into turn 1. He's going to tuck in behind Jason Park.
It's just played a lot more guts than I have. A nice job passing there, Jason Park. I don't have those kind of guts. I'd be on the inside braking a little early myself as well. We're going to follow along. We've got Jay Steffi Jay driving the Acura, falling along behind Jared Keane. Jared Keane is battling, trying to hold off Jay Steffi. We've got Brett Thurman behind them, Colin McKenzie ahead of them. It's a little bit of a train at this stage, Rob, but people battling hard, trying to pick up positions here or there where they can on the odd corner.
Yeah, we just saw Keane go wide heading out of that chicane onto the back straight. That allowed Steffi to get a nice run through there. He thinks about looking to the inside, see if he got Keane off his game at all. Looks like Keane not focusing much in his mirrors, not really paying much attention to Steffi out there. Oh, Steffi going wide, almost rubs into the wall. Actually, might even touched it a little bit. A matter of millimeters between him ending his race there. You can see he had to back out of that one. Lost a ton of time to Jared Keane through that corner. Now Brett Thurman is starting to lick his chops at potentially getting back up into P8 here, currently held by Jay Steffi.
Yeah, that was a close call, and wisely backed out of it. Cost a little bit of time, but allows him to fight back and have another chance, another lap or two down the road, as long as he can hold off Brett Thurman, who is making his charge, as you say. Brett does not qualifying quite as well as he was hoping for, but still well in it. 9th place right now. We're only 6 laps in, or only on our 6th lap.
Yeah, still got just under 25 minutes to go in this one. 24 minutes as the clock ticks over to 11 minutes gone. So still plenty of time for our drivers to move and shake. Looks like David Bush III still staying relatively 4 to 6 tenths, give or take, up behind Tyler Graff. Up ahead, that battle between McKenzie and Trickett still staying fairly stagnant, about 6 tenths there. We go a little further back. We've got a battle here between Hillman and Ross Sortino, our top 2 AM drivers right now. So Sortino holding down 11th place, which is also top spot in the AM category. All of our AM drivers designated by the purple coloring in the timing tower, and the orange colored cars are our pro drivers.
Yeah, it was interesting. Earlier in the season, we saw a lot of mixture of the amateurs right up there in the pros, and now we're seeing that it's a little bit separated as the season's gone on. The pros have kind of upped their game a little bit, and that said, Ross Sortino is sitting in 11th. We're picking up along with Alex Hillman in 12th, falling along in behind him. Alex representing himself quite well, driving that beautifully painted Porsche.
Yeah, it's a nice looking car out there right now. We see Hillman actually going wide through Sunset. Almost had a Jay Steffi moment there, a little kiss on the wall, but gathers it back up, but just up ahead of them. It's like Ross Sortino starting to pull away from Hillman. He's starting to put some pressure on the back of Seb Gauthier. Gauthier, I think, was another driver, if I remember correctly. He didn't have the best showing last week at Le Mans. A little bit of an incident for him, but it's like Sortino looking up to the inside of him, almost kisses the rear bumper, but they're going to live to battle on for another corner. Sortino's still looking to the inside. Gauthier going to have to go defensive here to not allow that Ferrari of Ross Sortino to get around him and take over 10th spot.
Yeah, Seb Gauthier's had some great races going on, but unfortunately his finishes he hasn't got the results he's really wanted, and he's had better pace than his point showings have totaled. Doing a great job there, holding off Ross Sortino. Ross wanting to make that move, but just no room there. Seb had him covered off quite well.
Yeah, we should mention Sortino's had a bit of a adventurous season. We've seen him involved in a number of incidents, some of them just pure hard racing, some of them maybe not the best decision making out there on track. So it's interesting to see how aggressive he is here with Seb Gauthier. We've seen him being fairly aggressive throughout the season, but I think with a couple races to go, he might have learned here, Rich, with a couple penalties throughout the season, that he's kind of pull it back a little bit. I suspect that he'll be fairly calm and fair racing against Seb Gauthier, but it looks like Colin McKenzie starting to close back up on. Oh, I spoke too soon.
That won't do it.
I thought he was closing up on the back of Trickett, but that last corner goes off track. He's going to actually lose a spot to Jared Keane, who his eyes probably got huge when he saw McKenzie go off track. For one, hoped he didn't come right back off on track in front of him, and also that he was able to pick up 6th place.
Yeah, those are the kind of passes I do quite well. That's my specialty, Rob. You wait for somebody else to make a mistake, and you just be there when it counts. And Jared Keane definitely was there, getting by Colin McKenzie quite easily, avoiding any contact. Looking at these guys, Colin McKenzie, though, right back at it, trying to get that position back, not willing to accept defeat after that little excursion.
Yeah, let's take a quick look here. We only caught the last second of it, what happened to McKenzie. So heading into the Le Mans corner. Oh, just too much understeer out of that corner, pushed the Acura off wide, and that's all it took to cost him a spot. But looks like just ahead of them, Andrew Trickett now putting some pressure on Felix Feliz. Feliz we had saw up as high as second place, currently in fourth, but feeling a ton of pressure from Andrew Trickett. Trickett qualified fifth, but he'd love to take fourth spot away from Felix Feliz, who's already down one spot from where he qualified in third. Jason Park, once he's got around Felix Feliz, started to open up a gap and walk away from him. He's actually closing in on David Bush III and Tyler Graff up ahead, who have been fairly stagnant since Bush has caught up to him. And I think there's a reason for that, Rich. As I mentioned, all throughout the season, David Bush III likes to get into a comfortable kind of pace and then kind of save some fuel. I think that's exactly what he's doing right now behind Tyler Graff. But as long as they can stay out ahead of the rest of the cars, I think he's just comfortable just staying tucked in there, saving a little fuel, and if need be, try and jump a Graff through the pit cycle.
Yeah, there's no sense going full beans right now. The more they battle, the more it allows Jason Park to close that gap. And right now, as long as they're maintaining the gap or increasing it, David Bush III just quite comfortable, I think, staying in second. He may have more, we won't know until I think we get into the last 10 minutes or so of this race, Rob.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm looking at the last laps, quickest laps by, and it looks like our top three, top four, five, all of our top five drivers actually had the five quickest laps on track. So all five of them still pushing forward. And then actually it looks like Jay Steffi was our quickest driver after that, but Brett Thurman is going to be the first driver in. So I mentioned it early on to see if anybody would take the undercut. It looks like Brett Thurman's going to opt for that strategy. So we'll have to keep an eye on where he cycles through. Right now, he's the first one in as we kind of nearing the halfway point here with another half a lap or so. We'll be right there.
Yeah, Brett was sitting there in ninth, and I think he was just kind of stuck and trying to look for something to happen for him this week. So far, nothing really has been moving forward or backwards. Let's get himself a little bit of clean air and see what he can do. We're going to pick back up with Andrew Trickett going down, diving hard into the hairpin, really trying to close that gap up and make up another position and pick up it up off of Felix Feliz. Andrew Trickett sitting in fifth right now where he started. Felix Feliz is down one position, trying to avoid going down two.
And it looks like Feliz a little better sector there than Trickett, opened up a tenth or two over Trickett, but it looks like Trickett much better getting into the brake zone a little later. A little later on the brakes, diving in there. I've got Zippy's hiccups from a couple nights ago on the broadcast, oh, no. So it's a little infectious here. But Trickett looking strong through this sector here, and it looks like they actually might be closing back in on Jason Park, who had opened up a bit of a gap over them. But I think these two Porsches working together, Rich, starting to reel him back in.
Yeah, the working together is definitely going to do a lot more for you at this stage of the race than battling hard. Just wondering, I sure hope you got those hiccups from something better than tea, because anybody can get the hiccups from tea just, loses all respect for me. I sure hope it was beer or something, Rob. Anyhow, enough of that. Andrew Trickett having a good little run here. Jay Steffi, Seb Gauthier, Colin McKenzie, a whole bunch of drivers going in hard. Colin McKenzie throwing it in deep behind Jared Keane, but nothing doing right now. It's all about the exit out of this corner, going all the way to the wall, and it looks like we've got Jay Steffi coming into the pits as well.
Yeah, Steffi going to be our next of the top 10 to pop in for pit service. But you mentioned it early on, Rich, that there's a number of different lines you can take through Sunset, and we saw a couple of them there with McKenzie throwing it deep and heading out, letting it drift out wide, and then kind of double apexing that corner, heading back in, where Keane was taking more of the, I guess you'd say, traditional line, trying to keep it as tight to the concrete wall on the inside as he could, not allowing anybody to cut underneath and holding on to that position. In the end, it looks like it seemed to work out about the same between the two of them.
Oh, for sure. And I've tried all of the different routes through there, Rob. Not necessarily on purpose, mind you, but I definitely used all of them. And definitely a lot bumpier, keeping it tight. But I find keeping it tight, it gives you that great exit speed if you can, ramp out and use that whole track width without having to lift and get as close to the wall as possible. Herbert Pineda, though, back going strong after his little excursion earlier. Herbert sitting in 11th right now, falling along behind Alex Hillman. Herbert having a a little rough start to this race, looking to get his positions back and make some advances here.
Yeah, we saw Herbert, unfortunately, incident through Sunset Bend, but trying to put some pressure on the back of Alex Hillman. As you mentioned, Hillman up 3 spots, partly due to early pit stops. But we should take and make a mention of Kevin Bergquist. We mentioned early on that not exactly a qualifying result he would have wanted out here tonight, but up 9 spots right now into 13th place. Our second place driver in the AM Championship, really trying to gather in as many points as he can here, Rich, to try and close in on Waldo Walden.
Yeah, Kevin was up, I believe, 5 or 6 spots before anybody came into the pit. So not all of that was because of people pitting. Kevin's definitely making some advances here. Definitely making up for his qualifying effort, which was a little subpar by his standards, and charging hard now, coming along the long back straightaway leading into Sunset.
Yeah, we'll see if he chooses to pop into the pits this time by, as we're seeing more and more drivers each time by opting to come in. He looks like he's holding it tight to the inside, and there he is. He's coming in for his service. So we see we got a number of drivers. We got our leader, Tyler Graff, in, David Bush III, Felix Feliz, Andrew Trickett. Looks like Jason Park and Colin McKenzie, the only 2 of our top 10, going to stay out and go another lap around. So hopefully McKenzie has enough fuel. We saw him come up a little short in Road America. Couldn't quite get to the line. Jason Park as well up ahead. So a couple Acuras. Looks like they're going to be able to push for an extra lap here, Rich.
Yeah, you do that once, Rob. You come up short for fuel once, and you know it's going to happen. Whoa, no.
Looks like something might happen between Jay Steffi and Brett Thurman into turn 1. Oh, Thurman just tapped the left rear of Steffi and then got caught up as Steffi was spinning around. Oh, no.
We see that again, maybe, Rob, from behind the cars?
Yeah, we'll see if I can get another look here at that one. And then see, it looked almost, I'm not sure if Steffi broke a little earlier than maybe Thurman was expecting.
I was just wondering if he swung out a little right at the very end, but my eyes could have been deceiving me. But Jason Park, continuing on that last lap. Let's take a look again and see if we can see a little better from here.
Yeah, it looks like Brett just tried braking a little later on the outside and unfortunately just barely caught the right rear corner of Jay Steffi's car, and around they went. But as that happened, it looks like something happened to Luke Davis too at the same time. Let's see what happened to Luke heading into Sunset Bend in that Ferrari. We're going to lose him underneath the tower. Oh, just the back end comes out, swings around. Looks like he's going to keep it off of the wall. Yes, he is. I'm not sure if he came in for service or not, but that probably would have been the optimal time to come in for service.
That was service, I've done that before. I've come around the corner. I've come around the corner at Sunset and had to go into the pits, and a car was blocking it, just like we saw there. And I had nowhere to go, so luckily nobody was trying to get into pit lane. Pick it back up. David Bush at the third. Let's see where these guys cycle out now that the pit stops are pretty much done. David Bush III coming down the straightaway. We've got Jason Park is not going to advance past him, but David Bush III is now in the lead.
Yeah, exactly what I said I believed he was doing early on. He saved a little bit of fuel, staying tucked in behind Tyler Graff. So having a look at their pit stop times on and off pit road, 42.35 seconds for David Bush III. 43.5 seconds for Tyler Graff. That's all it took to get David Bush III out front. Now we'll have to see if he can stay out front. Tyler Graff was our pole sitter, so he has the pace. Just a matter if he has enough tires under him to mount a charge on the Lambo of D. Bush up ahead. But Jason Park, quick stop for him, has got him in striking distance for Tyler Graff up ahead. So the top 3 still a possibility of some moving and shaking here. And just behind them, Felix Feliz, Andrew Trickett still battling away.
Yeah, I wonder if something happened with Tyler Graff, because he lost a second in the pit lane, but he didn't really lose anything to Jason Park. So I'm wondering if his outlap just wasn't as quick, or his inlap just wasn't as quick as the others. Felix Feliz is sitting in 4th. He's only down 1 spot right now. Andrew Trickett looking really, really closely at him, though, really wanting to get that spot back from him, looking to move up.
Yeah, Trickett's still, he's one of our, actually, I think he might be our only driver that's still running in the position he qualified in, as almost every other driver's either gained or lost positions. still Kevin Berquist. Once the pit cycles have moved through, he's still our biggest mover and shaker. Currently our 4th ranked AM, but up 7 spots right now in a 15th overall. But he's in the middle of a battle, Rich, as we pick him up. He's got Jay Steffi up ahead. We just saw what happened to Steffi and Jacob Fichtner in behind him. So a couple of real hard chargers in between our number 2 in the AM championship right now, Kevin Berquist.
Yeah, Kevin Berquist is a little bit of a sandwich meat going on right now. Jay Steffi definitely has some pace tonight. Jacob Fichtner, he's up 2 spots. He wants to get one of those spots back that Kevin took earlier from him. Fall along behind Jay Steffi as we're coming into sunset. Kevin getting all over the back end, keeping a nice tight line, trying to get advanced. But as we watch that, going a little wider behind is Jacob Fichtner. Looks like everybody's going to maintain positions, though. No gains to be had, but wow, getting a little dusky now. Getting to see those rotors really start to heat up on these cars, Rob. Especially on, oh no, Jay Steffi spinning it around. Everybody's able to get by cleanly, though. The only person involved, Jay Steffi. Fortunately, that is going to ruin his evening. Fortunately, he did not hit the wall, but it's going to cost him a lot of positions, moving him right back to the back of the field.
Yeah, he's going to get turned around. I was actually going to make mention when we were on board looking back from his wing, it looked like he had a little bit of damage on the left side of that wing. Possibly, I didn't quite remember if he might have grazed the wall after that contact between he and Thurman, but a little bit of aero damage on the back of that car. We'll see if we can take another look at it, as he didn't hit the wall this time when he went around, but we should be able to see a little bit of the damage on the back of Steffi's car here once we can pick him up. There you can see it. A little bendy there on the left side. It's definitely affected his aero a little bit. Could have been the cause of him spinning around there.
Yeah, it makes it really tough. You've got nice, tough, bumpy corners and trying to apply a little acceleration through there, and the back end just comes spinning around. Jay Steffi, rather unfortunate for him tonight, not necessarily through any fault of his own. Pick it back up. Felix Feliz is still battling hard with Andrew Trickett. Andrew Trickett, whoa, oh, wow. I think some people going way wide. It's just a little bit of a camera angle making it look like they hit the wall, but the wall actually goes out a little further beyond where the camera can see. Everybody getting through clean, falling nose to tail now.
Yeah, I thought, as you mentioned, there we do have some cars off track there now. Is Jared Keane, Andrew Trickett doing a little bit of landscaping for the grounds crew out there, dropping a couple tires into the dirt. You see Keane up on the curbs, trying to use up all the track that he can. Some tracks, it's an advantage to use those curves, but the raised curbs here at Sebring, I've always found that they kind of hamper you a little bit. You're getting the car off ground, getting a little unbalanced, bouncing around on those curbs. You're generally better off to try and stay off the curbs in the first sector there, those S's, where they're being so raised, it really wants to unsettle the car. These curbs here are a little lower, you can hop over them, really run right over them. But that first sector, you really want to try and stay off them. But Jared Keane up 1 spot into 6th place. He's got Colin McKenzie in behind him. He's trying to chase down Andrew Trickett and Felix Feliz up ahead, but let's pop back here. So we got Dale Peterson trying to chase down Jacob Fichtner up ahead. That's a battle for 16th and 17th. Peterson down 2 spots from where he qualified. Fichtner up 2 spots into 16, and they're trying to chase down teammates of Ian Cabana and Kevin Berquist up ahead.
Yeah, nice little 4-car battle. Nice to see Dale Peterson. He's down 2 spots, but he's battling hard. Jacob Fichtner up ahead. He is up a couple of positions, and they're following along behind the teammates of Kevin Berquist, Ian Cabana. Good little 4-car battle.
Yeah, tight battle. Berquist leading the way in 14th place. As I mentioned, he's got teammate Ian Cabana behind, so I don't suspect he'll feel a ton of pressure from Ian. 2 of them aren't really overly aggressive drivers to start with, but they're going to try and work together to keep Jacob Fichtner and Dale Peterson in behind them. Let's pop back up, have a look at our leaders. So far, David Bush III opening up that gap over Tyler Graff a little bit, a couple tenths. Last couple laps over him. We're down to about 6 minutes to go, Rich, so probably about 3 laps maybe left in this one. David Bush III holding on to 1.75 now as Tyler Graff goes off track in behind. That's going to cost him a couple more tenths. Jason Park was probably getting big-eyed when he saw that. Opportunity here for Park, if he can, chase down Tyler Graff up ahead to take away 2nd spot on the podium.
Yeah, Dave Bush the third has only one victory this season, but he's had a lot of great results, and man, he's making some great racing tonight, and definitely looks like he's the, it's his to lose at this stage. Pick it back up, Andrew Venara following along behind Alex Hillman. Andrew's up at 5 positions, having himself a fairly good race so far, sitting in 12th place, battling hard, wanting 11th as they're coming up down the straightaway, entering into the hairpin, leading into the chicane here. Nothing doing, not close enough to make a move, but definitely close enough to tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like Hillman got a little loose trying to get onto the throttle out of that exit. Kind of had to gather up the back end, which is something that generally happens with the McLaren in behind him. It's a real car. It's a car that's real loose out of the slow corners. You have to really watch that you can't hammer onto the throttle. Otherwise, the back end really wants to break loose on it. But looks like Andrew Venaro doing well right now, trying to put some pressure on Hillman, as you mentioned, up 5 spots on the day. So nice showing for Andrew Venaro. Got himself in 10th place in the pro side of things, which equates to 12th overall. But it's really now, actually, it's our closest battle on the track other than the one that we looked at earlier between Bergquist, Cabana, Fichtner, and Peterson, where they've all kind of stagnated out. But it's like Fichtner caught up to the back of Cabana, had a little look to the inside, but didn't really make a move, just kind of showing the nose, letting Cabana know he's there. But as Cabana's holding off Fichtner up ahead, it's allowed Bergquist to open up a gap between them. So teammates working together here. Ian letting his teammate Kevin, who's battling for the championship, kind of get out ahead, try and hold on to any points he can. But now Peterson trying to get into this battle.
Yeah, we've got, you see guys making those different lines on the exit of 16. You can go real wide, you can go a little tight. They all seem to work as long as you get that exit right and don't get off onto the grass. And wow, Jacob Fichtner getting a great push at Dale Peterson, really getting hungry here. Dale Peterson's getting all over the back. It's all a matter of exit speed. Dale Peterson going tight. Looks like he's going to be battling side by side, but that's going to give Jacob Fichtner the inside going into turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like they're both tight. Fichtner trying to force Peterson out wide. Peterson trying to stay as tight the inside as he can. Fichtner going to hold on to that spot, but his exit might have been a little bit of compromise. Peterson going to try and dive down the inside, so he's going to make that spot stick. Fichtner didn't quite notice him there for a minute, almost turned into him, so it's going to move Dale Peterson up into 16th place. Nice maneuver there by Peterson.
He worked real hard for that one position. I mean, that took him 4 or 5 corners to set up, and set it up he did. Fabulous job of racing, and great display of clean racing by Dale Peterson. Picking back up, Andrew Venaro getting some pressure still. Alex Hillman doing a good job. He's up 1 position. Venaro, though, up 6, doesn't want to go only up 5. He wants to keep where he is. Lots of good close battling in this field here, Rob. We're coming down towards little turn 14, I believe, and these guys are battling nice and closely as dust starts to set at Sebring International Raceway.
Yeah, nice run by Hillman today. 2nd place AM driver in the field, so nice showing by him. He'd love to take one more position away and try and get a little more points over our top AM driver right now, Ross Sortino. But say we got Jerry Keane catching up to that battle between Feliz and Trickett. A little bit of space here between the 3 of them, but Keane, the last couple laps, putting in a 2:01.2, or Jesus, let me get this right here. 2:01.12 to Trickett's 2:01.4 and Feliz's 2:01.7. So last time by, Keane almost 0.6 of a second quicker than Felix Feliz leading this 3-car trio around. So Jerry Keane putting a push here with about a lap and a half left to go in this one.
Yeah, it's been a good battle. These guys are really charging hard, and it's running out of time, though. If you're going to make a move, you've got to really close that gap up. And Andrew Trickett really wants a position for Felix Feliz. Jerry Keane, though, is sitting up tight. So Felix dropped that 1 position early, but has been managing to maintain 4th spot and doing a good job thus far.
Yeah, he's been able to hold them off. It's one thing to catch the car, Rich. It's another thing to get around them. Sebring, a whole lot of bumps here. It's really hard to, you have to be real confident when you get onto the brakes, try and dive under a car ahead of you or beside you. One bump can really unsettle the car. Next thing you know, you're sliding into the driver beside you and you're both going off track, and it could be the end of your race.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way last night, but we're going to pick it back up with David Bush the third. David's got himself about a second and a half a lead over Tyler Graff. David Bush sitting in third in the championship points, looking like he will be sitting second after this week if he maintains this position. Having a great run. Nice to see him back on top. It's been a while. Last time we saw David Bush III in this position, it was round 2, so many, many weeks ago.
Yeah, there we see Barney waving the white flag there for our drivers. Oh no, that's the checker flag. Oh, I caught the that was it. David Bush III. Sorry, I was thinking we still had one more lap. I was looking at the clock. I thought I saw it was at 32 something when he crossed the line last time by. So well done, David Bush III. He's able to hold off the charge of Tyler Graff. I was going to say Graff took about 3/10 out of Bush that lap, so it was going to get close. But well done, David Bush, with pit strategy, able to get up top of the standings in this one. We've still got a couple more battles heading to the line. We'll check back in this Berquist Cabana Peterson battle. So he kind of spread out here once Dale Peterson was able to get around Jacob Fichtner. Just that battling alone was enough to separate that battle apart. Luke Davis, we saw him spin here. Oh, almost touches the wall again, coming out of Sunset.
Yeah, they just got. Looks like they just made it in about 35 minutes and 2 seconds, Rob. So that's why a little confusion there with the white or checker flag. They were very, very close to having one more lap, but just didn't quite make it.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see who took enough fuel for that one more lap extra. I almost, without knowing how much fuel David Bush III had, I've been in that situation before, and if I knew I had it, I really pushed to try and run that extra lap so I could try and force everybody else to have to fuel again.
Yeah, looking at my timing and scoring here, according to my race results, David Bush III crossed the line at 34:59.779. So that is what happened there, folks, and that's why it was that close between white or checkered. So, but anyhow, it is official. The race results are David Bush III, our race winner by 1.5 seconds over Tyler Graff. Third place, Jason Park, followed in fourth by Felix Feliz. Andrew Trickett rounds out our top 5. Then we had Jared Keane, followed by Colin McKenzie. Seb Gauthier in 8th, followed by our amateur winner, Ross Artino, in 9th. Herbert Pineda recovered well to finish 10th, followed by Andrew Venaro in 11th.
And then Alex Hillman in 12th. Neil Alexander comes home 13th. Kevin Berquist gets up into 14th. Ian Cabana in 15th. Dale Peterson in 16th. Jacob Fichtner brings it home in 17th. Drew DeWeese in 18th. Luke Davis recovers to 19th. Scott Jeffries in 20th. Then we find Brett Thurman 21st. Jay Steffi 22nd. And then unfortunate early endings for Robert Jeffries and David Morse.
Wow, there was a little bit of excitement there, Rob. Some not the kind we want to see, and some the kind we do like seeing. But Sebring delivered the bumpiness, the unevenness, the setting sun, made for some interesting racing tonight.
It most certainly did, Rich. It most certainly did. But let's see who we got in the booth here. So we got a number of drivers here waiting to chat. Why don't you catch up with our third place driver, Jason Park?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, congratulations on the third place finish, Jason. Nice job tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it went well. I was able to make or capitalize on a mistake that I think Felix made, and just kind of held P3 there throughout the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's been a number of weeks since we've seen you on the podium, and it's nice to have you back. We did see that nice you get by Felix quite well there. How'd the race go for you? Other than that, is it what you were expecting, or?
It was a pleasant surprise because in practice I didn't feel that quick, and I just kind of put a good lap together in qualifying to end up starting in P4, and I saved enough fuel to get that extra lap, hoping to be able to overcut, but yeah, I just wasn't quite as quick as Tyler and David.
Yeah, we were caught off guard. The race ended basically right on the button at 35 minutes. We thought you guys were gonna have one more lap, but a great job on third place and on the podium tonight. We rounded out at Imola next week. How are you at Imola? Are you looking forward to that track?
Yeah, I do enjoy that track. Definitely looking forward to the kind of the season ender there. I think I'm out of the points race, but yeah, definitely excited.
You're not out of it. You're not going to win it, but you were sitting fourth, and you certainly had yourself a great result. Congratulations. Anybody you'd like to shout out?
Dale, welcome back to Dale. It was his first race back after he kind of tweaked his wrist there. Just congrats to him to coming back, and hopefully we see him here next week.
Yeah, Dale. We saw got some TV time tonight. We saw him make a great move earlier this evening, and welcome back, Dale. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, that was our third place driver, Jason Park. Let's bring in our second place driver, Tyler Graff. Tyler, looks like you had a good strategy out there, but unfortunately, it looks like David Bush III was able to pip you in the pit stop. So with a little quicker time, he was saving some fuel, tucked in behind you for a little bit there. How did your race go from your point of view?
Honestly, my whole race kind of depended on whatever Bush did. I knew he was quicker, and I knew he was going to need to take less fuel. It turns out all of us needed to take less fuel. The race got cut by a lap right at the end there. So, yeah, I kind of expected it. I thought if I could maybe hold the draft with him, that I could stay with him, but he was just so much quicker than me in the first two sectors of the track. I think the Porsche got through the last bits of the track and the straightaway a little better, but I mean, he was eating me up in the spots where it counted, and he took advantage of it. So, good on him. It was a great race. I'm happy with P2. I think that was enough for the champion to clinch the championship. So, hopefully, otherwise, we'll wait another week. So,
Yeah, I think you've unofficially locked it up this week, Tyler, with your second place finish. But so congrats on that. We'll make it official next week, I guess, when all the points are totaled. I don't suspect you get any penalties. I didn't see you involved in anything, but we've been to a number of high-speed tracks majority of this season. Next week we head to Imola, and not necessarily a high-speed track. Some really gnarly curbs and off cambers there. How you feeling heading into that one?
I don't know. Imola is a track that I really struggle at. I'm probably just gonna have to do similar as I did this week, is just really pound laps. I don't like Sebring either. This track has always been a thorn in my side, and it's one of those ones where you just kind of get the brain fade halfway through a run of either disassociating or just trying to get through the runs. So we'll have to do some grinding to get through Imola, but I think it's tight and technical. You can kind of drive it a little bit like a street course. So in the track limits have been redone there too. So it's basically a street course. So I don't know. I think I'll just kind of think about it that way and remember that the walls aren't as close as a street course.
There you go. Well, unofficial congrats for you, Tyler Graff, wrapping up the championship. Anybody you want to shout out here before we let you go?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to my team at MadWorks, all the guys always support me there. Lunatic guys for letting me hang out during practice. I don't know. It's just been a good season. It's fun to see it all come together, and thank you to you guys for putting this on. When PRL announced that things weren't coming back, I think we were all a little lost, and I don't know. You guys stepped up and knocked it out of the park. So it's been great.
We appreciate Tyler, and best of luck to you next week as the first inaugural champion of the Throttle Freaks Fixed GT3 season. Congrats, and best of luck next week.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. That was our soon-to-be crowned champion, Tyler Graff, and we'll finish off with Rich catching up with our winner, David Bush III.
Congratulations, David. It's been a long time since week 2. Nice to see you back in victory lane here tonight.
Thanks, guys. Yes, it has been quite a while, but little tidbit for you. I won these 2 races in the last season of PRL, so it's kind of nice to go from 2 wins there to 2 wins here at the same tracks.
You're nothing if not consistent. Tonight, you finished a lap earlier than we were expecting, and you definitely made some gains during the pit strategy, as we've noticed you doing from time to time this season. Was that part of your game plan before the pit stops?
Yeah, I knew that throughout the first half of the race, I was going quicker than Tyler, and my game plan was just to do whatever I had to do to be able to break the draft through the pit stop. So I actually ended up taking a little bit less fuel than what I thought we were going to have to go, but then we ended up going in one less lap. So it kind of worked out, even though I still was trying to manage the gap the whole second half of the race to try and save that extra lap of fuel.
No, it was a great job of planning and execution, at least from our perspective. Next week's Imola, what have you got to show for us there? Is it going to be a good week for you think?
I hope so. I hope that I can finish this season strong and potentially have a fighting chance for maybe the top spot. I don't know how the points all shook out, but it should be somewhat close, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's available, but we'll find out once all the points are totaled. But I think that will definitely move you ahead of Brett Thurman back up into second. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Oh, shout out to the whole Lunatic squad. Colin made it some amazing paints. We got some refresh paints this week, and obviously it just carried all the confidence into the race.
Hey, if you look good, you are good. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, that was our race winner, David Bush III, taking his second race of the season. So that'll wrap it up here for the fixed setup series side of things. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back shortly to see what's going on in the sprint race. Stick around. Okay, we're back. This time it's the Sprint Series, 5 minute longer race. Same cars, open setup. Our drivers are allowed now to make modifications to the setup on the car, suspension, wing angle, aerodynamics, and so forth. It's still at Sebring, although a little different conditions. Looks like it's a little hazier out there, Rich. A little foggy. We checked quickly, actually. You checked quickly before we came on here. The weather forecast doesn't look like it's calling for any rain, but definitely looks like the fog might play a bit of a role here this evening.
Yeah, humidity looks up a little higher than it was earlier for the guys, and definitely foggy. As we take a look, I believe that is Kevin Simpson. It's hard to. Oh, it's Emmett Lindquist. It was one or the other. Very hard to tell in these foggy conditions. Going to make it tough for us as commentators to call this. The qualifying's just wrapped up here in the 9th race of the Throttle Freaks Sprint Series.
Yeah, we might as well take, while we wait for timing and scoring to kick over, Rich, let's take a look at the championship of how it's shaping out in the Sprint Series side of things here. First, we'll look at the pro side. Kevin Simpson, via back-to-back victories, got himself up top of the standings now. 282 points over Fernando Jaques in second place with 255. We find Jim Feliz in third, 237 points. David Mendonça in fourth, and Emmett Lindquist rounds out the top five. And then we'll have Rich go through the AM side of things here, and it looks like it's fairly tight in a couple spots.
Yeah, we've got Matt Stanek who's got himself a good lead in first, followed by Corey Sircone in second, but Luis Grullon only 14 points behind in third. Then we have Joey Costello and Blake Ziti rounding out at the top five. Lots of good, tough battles in there, and some changes can happen. I think, we got Luis and Corey. Joey's not really far behind either, so I think first is pretty well in hand if Matt has a good race, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Stadnik's all but wrapped it up here. Probably make it official this evening with his race results, but still a tight battle between second and looks like fourth. Only about 25 points separating them, 27 points separating them. So still anything can happen there. And then we got a teams championship going on here too as well. It looks like looks like my timing and scoring going on a little bit of a fritz there. Let's reset that and let's bring up the team championships here again, have a better look. Solpec Racing, by virtue of a strong showing by Kevin Simpson and David Mendonça last week, 1-2. Going to take top spot away from the SRTE Orange team, but only 11 points, Rich, separating those two teams at the top. A little farther back via some penalty points for the CRT drivers switching out of the Ferraris, but they've got themselves firmly planted in third, followed by their AM compatriots in fourth, SRTE Green in fifth, SimCity sixth, and PLR SimSport rounding out the team championship.
Yeah, it's going to make for an interesting finish to the season between those top two. Let's see if we've got the grid lined up now, Rob, and where we qualified tonight.
The grid? You're asking for a lot here now, Rich, but there you go.
I am demanding. On pole tonight, we have Jim Feliz, followed in second by Fernando Jaques. Dave Mendonça is in third, followed by Luis Grullon in fourth, who is our top amateur. Matt Stanek is in fifth, followed by Emmett Lindquist. Then we have Kevin Simpson, followed by Blake Ziti. Oliver Rodriguez and Devin Brock round out our top 10.
Artie Mercedes going to start in 11th. Joey Costello to his outside in 12th. And in 13th place, we've got Adam Ostrich, Josh Spears in 14th. Fernando Torres going to start 15th. Douglas Curry in 16th. Tony Costello in 18th. And then rounding out the field, we're going to find Ivan Bassono. So smaller field here than the fixed series. Only 18 cars, Rich, but should be still a number of battles to be held. But interesting to see Kevin Simpson, our back-to-back winner here. You're going to start 7th on the field in this one, Rich, after back-to-back wins. Probably not exactly where he wanted to be, but I think he warned us last week that Sebring isn't one of his best. I think he actually told us watch out for Emmett Lindquist, who's going to be starting just a row ahead of him, his teammate. So we'll have to see if Emmett has some pace here. Not the quickest in qualifying, but We'll see if he's able to work his way up front, but the strong showing by Jim Feliz, our third place driver in the Pro Championship, sitting in the top spot here this evening.
Yeah, Kevin is he's definitely an honest man. When he thinks he's going to do well, he tells us and he does well. And when he doesn't think he's going to do well, um, you know, he predicted this. So it's a matter of race pace now at this stage. Starting 7th, 40 minutes, lots of time to go. We should have a good battle. Jim Feliz, Fernando Hackas starting on the front row with Luis Grullon, Dave Mendonça right behind them, Matt Stanek, Emmett Lindquist. Really expecting to see some good racing tonight, Rob. It's definitely going to be a little interesting trying to call if this fog keeps up, but this camera angle looks nice and clear. But when we go to the far cameras, we can really see the mist in the air.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at the weather forecast before we get going. There's the reason for the fog itself. 99% humidity at the track, which really shouldn't be all that surprising. We are in Sebring, Florida, the state where humidity is basically a way of life. You suspect a rainstorm almost every day around there, but partly cloudy. Again, no signs of rain in the forecast, but that could change. Who knows?
Yeah, weathermen have been wrong before, and I guess they could be wrong tonight. I think the drivers are hoping that they aren't, unless maybe you're a little bit further back and you're looking for some free positions, and you happen to be a rain specialist. Rain can be the great equalizer, but I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. Jim Feliz, quite proud of himself. I think he's on pole here. Jim's having a good season. He's sitting in 3rd overall in points, looking to maybe have a chance to move up one more and get on top of Fernando Hackas, but Fernando's right there beside him, so if he's going to make gains, he's going to have to continue his pace and hold on to that first position and hope for a little misfortune for Fernando, who is driving quite strongly ever since making that move to the Acura a few weeks back.
Yeah, I was kind of wonder if maybe he should have made the move earlier, but heading into the final corner here, Rich, it's almost that time. Okay, into the final corner. We're just waiting for the pace car to peel off, and then we'll be green. There goes the pace car. Barney's got the flag going. Looks like the field's waiting. They're going to fan out, possibly 4 wide into turn 1. Across the line. We'll see if they get it all gathered up here right now, but Jim Feliz going to lead them into turn 1. It's like Devin Brock up into 2nd place. Where did he come from? What a move. Drop back now behind Fernando Hackas, but Devin Brock up 7 spots early on in this one. I'm not sure if he jumped the start, Rich,
Wow.
but what a massive move. We'll have to see if we get a replay of that. Devin Brock now in 4th place. So he dropped a couple spots back to Hackas and Mendonça early on, but what a way to start the race for Devin Brock.
Yeah, they were going 2-3 wide through there, and everybody, though, getting through clean. And like you said, Devin Brock, we'll have to go back and look at that race start again and see what really happened. But Emmett Lindquist looking inside, looking outside, but Oliver Rodriguez Santos saying, not right now, stay where you are.
Yeah, Lindquist, as I mentioned early on, his teammate Kevin Simpson said to watch out for him this week. He's strong at Sebring. We'll see if he has the ability to make up for his qualifying, kind of sitting mid top 10 right now. But our pole setter Jim Feliz able to get out to a nice half-second gap over Fernando Hackas. A couple Acuras out front. Actually, 3 Acuras in the top 5 right now. David Mendonça in the Porsche, currently in 3rd spot, and Luis Grullon, the other non-Acura, in the top 5.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the mix of cars and manufacturers goes in the Sprint Series compared to the Fixed Series. I'm a big fan of that Acura, but I've never actually tried it with an open setup. These guys obviously loving it. Jim Feliz in 1st, Fernando Hackas in 2nd, and we're following along board with David Mendonça in 3rd as we go down the long straightaway leading into Sunset.
Yeah, it looks like something happened to Joey Costello. We'll catch up with that in a second as David Mendonça is closed up on the back of Fernando Hackas heading into Sunset. Wasn't sure if he's going to try and make a move in there, but looks like that Acura able to get in and out of Sunset a little bit quicker than the Porsche. Let's take a quick look here at what happened to Joey Costello. Costello in the orange and black SRT car on the inside. Looks like he just touches the back end of that Porsche up ahead. Not sure which Porsche that was offhand. I believe that might have been Fernando Torres. That's going to get him loose have to gather itself back up, but keeps it off any of the walls, so only time lost and positions lost on that one, Rich.
Yeah, and once you get that Acura up onto those very high level curbs through that section, even if you're not getting touched, it's going to be hard to hold on to it. And doing a good job, Joey Costello, of avoiding any further damage and keeping it away from walls. So nice job. We're going to follow it up. Oh, a little bit of a luck again, and no moves had, but Emmett Lindquist is definitely expressing a desire to get by Oliver Rodriguez Santos, and at both times coming into the hairpin at turn 7.
Yeah, let's go back to the start of this one and see if we can see how Devin Brock made up all those spots early on. So on board here with Devin. Oh, he just shot out wide as soon as they went. I'll have to see if the stewards reviewed that. I'm not sure if he went before green. It is a start when the leader starts, so it'd be interesting to see how they ruled that one. But instantly shot out to the right, so he caught a couple of guys sleeping, was able to pick up a number of spots early on. So falling back a little bit, currently in 5th place, but still up 5 spots from where he qualified.
Yeah, if he went when the leaders went, he should be good, and that was a great job of jumping to the far outside. We'll find out, I guess, after this week if everything is kosher with these stewards. Following along, Emmett Lindquist, real tight up the inside. Oliver Rodriguez Santos not giving a whole lot of room. Finally dives out to the outside. They're going to go too wide through Sunset. Looks like Emmett Lindquist, it gets that job done finally with a nice, aggressive turn.
Yeah, it looked like it might end in tears there, Rich. But something had to give. Looks like Rodriguez Santos is not ready to give up that position yet, staying tight on the back of Emmett Lindquist. Although Lindquist going to hold on into turn 1. Matt Stadnick right in behind there, our AM championship leader. He necessarily doesn't want to get wrapped up in anything. A strong showing here tonight should basically put the dot on the I's and crossing the T's for his championship here. But if he could take off a spot just from those two battling, he'll gladly do it. But it's like Stadnick now tight on the back of Rodriguez Santos.
Yeah, Stadnick has shown a great pace all season long, battling against pros and amateurs alike. It doesn't really matter to him, but Santos taking that defensive line. That allows Artie Mercedes to close up nice and tight, but Matt Stadnick maintained position, didn't gain, didn't lose. Emmett Lindquist happy to get by now and battle ahead, looking forward to maybe catching up to Devin Brock.
Yeah, we'll see if Lindquist can catch Brock and move around him. Lindquist, one of those drivers that Brock took a position away from early on, so no doubt Lindquist will want to try and pull that back. But Brock holding his own right now, up 5 spots. Up front, Jim Feliz starting to get a little pressure from Fernando Jaquez. Jaquez is pulled away from Mendonça. We saw Mendonça charge a little bit a lap ago into Sunset Bend, but this time by, Jaquez found a little more pace. He's now putting a ton of pressure on Jim Feliz. They head in out of the penultimate corner and down that back straight. We'll see if he gets enough of a run to make a move into Sunset as they finish up lap 3.
Yeah, Jim Feliz has done a great job at maintaining pace and holding off Fernando Jaquez, but Fernando now in an equal car as Jim Feliz is really looking to advance, taking a little bit of an outside, drawing it in nice and tight. They're going to swing it out way right, use up all the track, all the way up as close to the wall as possible. Falling along in the draft behind, no moves right now, but they are maintaining and a little extending the gap on Dave Mendonça through that corner.
Yeah, Mendonça starting to fall back into the clutches of Luis Grullon in that McLaren. Grullon qualified 4th, currently sitting in 4th. All of our top 4 actually still where they qualified. So it actually looks like Grullon might be pushing Mendonça a little bit to catch up to that battle up ahead as they're closing in on the back of Jaquez. Jaquez, meanwhile, still trying to battle and find a way around Feliz. Unable to do it right now. Jim Feliz making that accurate NSX as wide as he possibly can right now, as he's going to go defensive here and try and force Jaquez around the outside for a nice move. Looks like Jaquez is going to go deep into the brakes. So he's going to get it woed up enough in time. They're going to touch a little bit as they head through there. Feliz gets it gathered up. That's going to cost him a bit of time to David Mendonça in 3rd place.
Yeah, a little bit of bumping and touching there, but for the most part, that looked relatively clean there in my humble and quick opinion. Dave Mendonça, though, getting a little hungry now because this has really closed up the gap. He's all over the back of Jim Feliz. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cars in this train. Luis Grullon, an amateur driver who had a great result last week, really looking to maintain and keep that streak up of, racing up there front with the leaders.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. He closes real deep. Real deep on the brakes, and closing in is Grullon on the back of Mendonça. Mendonça can't really do much as he's right up tight on the back of Fleas right now, so it's not like he could have dove any later onto the brakes into the corner. Grullon trying to take advantage of that down the back straight. 3-car draft here. We'll see if any of them try and duck out and make a move here, but as they battle, Fernando Haca is pulling away up ahead.
Yeah, Fernando Hacas has got himself a little bit of a gap there now after making that pass through the hairpin. These 3 cars, wow, look at how close Luis Grullon is behind, and all 3 of them really, there's not much separating them, 1, 2 tenths at most, and everybody just looking for that little edge, and it's really a matter of you're trying to advance your position, but you don't want to lose a spot. And guys riding this close, it's just a matter of do you take the bump the right way or the wrong way, and that could be the difference.
Yeah, and one little shunt from those curbs too as well. Rich will get the car real loose and off you go. But just in behind them, Emmett Lindquist has caught Devin Brock. So we'll see if Lindquist can find a way around Brock and catch up to that battle up ahead. Let's take a look at the latest lap times. Emmett Lindquist 201.0 to Brock's 201.2. So he's definitely got a little more pace. But looks like the quickest car on the track last time was Luis Grullon, our 4th place car, 2-minute flat 0.59, even quicker than his teammate out front, Fernando Haca, who mustered a 2-minute flat 0.69. So Grullon showing some pace, and that's exactly why he's putting pressure on the back of David Mendonça up ahead.
Yeah, not only that last lap, but he's also got the fastest lap of the race thus far. So, and that wasn't that lap. So Luis Grullon having a great start to this 40-minute race. 9 minutes in, we're on lap 5, and falling a little back behind Dave Mendonça right now, but definitely in the hunt and looking for a podium.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm not sure if there's a connection issue, but it looks like Matt Stadnik and Oliver Rodriguez-Santos had a bit of a battle here. Let's take a look here and see what happened in this one. But looks like they're going to battle back and forth a couple times here. Stadnik's going to pop ahead, and then Rodriguez-Santos is going to pop ahead. And I think Stadnik's actually going to take control of the position into turn 1. A little argy-bargy, little touch there. Oh, they touched again. Stadnik trying to make a little bit of room there for himself as they run down into turn 1. That's going to force Santos out wide. Stadnik going to hold on to that position on the inside, and it looks like he's finally going to keep hold of that. But he's got a number of CRT cars behind, but he's also got a teammate of, looks like Blake Seedy getting involved into this one. So let's pop back there live time and see what's going on in this battle. Is Stadnik opening up now over Santos? Artie Mercedes and Blake Seedy now have their own battle in behind.
Yeah, and now Matt Stadnik's got that clear. He looks like he's trying to close up on Emmett Lindquist and Devin Brock ahead of them. Nice battles going on, Rob, but we've got a smaller field of 18 cars tonight, but no lack of good, hard racing. Actually, we've seen a lot of hard racing here tonight thus far. Artie Mercedes here holding off Blake Seedy, looking for 9th and 10th place here, coming down into the hairpin.
You see Seedy getting late on the brakes there, trying to force a mistake from Artie Mercedes. Mercedes not buying what Zeedy's selling. Zeedy trying to peddle that baked Zeedy pasta. Right now, Mercedes says, no thanks, I'm a meat guy. Take your pasta with you. He's going to hold on to. He's going to hold on.
I like a combination. Give me some meat sauce with my pasta, Rob. But that's neither here nor there.
Mercedes going to hold on to 9th place and keep Blake Seedy in 10th. But yeah, you mentioned it, smaller field, but it's been nonstop battles throughout this one, Rich. I think that's what the Sprint Series kind of brings out. With the ability to alter the setups, it kind of makes it a little more racy, where the cars are pretty much competitive all throughout the field, where you don't really have the one make that's a little more dominant than the other ones in the fixed series because they can't alter the setup. So if you have the OP car that week based on the fixed setup, there's not really much anybody else can do to be real competitive.
Yeah, and it definitely allows different cars to excel at different portions of the track too. Yeah, I mean, you can trim it out for better straightaway speeds, or you make your car maybe faster in the corners. As we watch Emmett Lindquist going up the. Oh no, Devin Brock getting a little swept up there and going wide. losing some of those positions, and all of those positions he gained early.
Yeah, it's going to move him all the way back into 13th. So not only did he lose all those spots that he gained, Rich, he also lost another 3. So unfortunate end to a nice charge early on by Devin Brock, but now he's got Tony Costello up ahead of him, Fernando Torres, even Bassano behind him. So he's went from one battle, Rich, right into the thick of another battle.
Yeah, there's battles all up and down this track and this course. Everybody battling hard. You know, basically we've got the top 16 cars all battling for a position somewhere. We're going to take a look at that replay of what happened. Devin Brock going way outside and just lost the back end, and it come around on him, and that allowed everybody else to advance.
Yeah, he almost went too wide, carrying too much speed. Oh, Joey Costello, the lap before, got wide into Sunset. It looked like he just tagged the tire barrier, so he had to use his toe. Head back to the pits. Definitely some suspension damage on that one, but let's pop back up here and have a look at the leaders. Fernando Hawkes opened up now 1.5 seconds over Jim Flees in second. Flees still holding off David Mendonça and Luis Grullon in third and fourth. So we'll see if there's any kind of fuel savings here. We saw what fuel savings or how fuel savings worked out for David Busch III in the fixed race, Rich. Could it be that David Mendonça, another driver who we've seen great with fuel strategy throughout these races, could he just be sitting back there trying to utilize the draft off Jim Flees, trying to save a little bit of fuel and hold on to that spot? Looks like possibly a slowdown for Mendonça. Look like he slowed up on the back straight there. Grullon looking to the inside. He lost a ton of time to Jim Flees, so to see if Grullon finds a way around into turn 1 as Mendonça looks like he's clearing a slowdown. He's going to pop into the pits too as well.
Yeah, it's good timing. He's our second person to take their scheduled pit stop. Kevin Simpson, our championship points leader, came in last lap, very early pit stop, looking probably to get away from some traffic, get some clean air. We're going to pick it back up at Matt Stanek, following up behind Emmett Lindquist. Emmett having a strong race as expected, as predicted by his teammate Kevin Simpson.
Yeah, Stadnik putting some pressure on Lindquist. Lindquist up 2 spots, but I think most of that's going to be from early pit stop. Well, one's going to be from early pit stop by David Mendonça. So really only 1 spot gained so far by Lindquist, although he had to gain back a couple spots lost early on just from some argy-bargy and bumping and banging out there. But now he's got Matt Stadnik and Oliver Rodriguez Santos to deal with. We saw what happened between Santos and Stadnik not long ago, where they were kind of elbowing each other in the kidneys, giving each other kidney shots heading down the front straight, Rich. But Stadnik prevailed on that one. He's looking a little hungry. He wants to take away P4 from Emmett Lindquist.
Yeah, our amateur championship points leader is definitely not afraid to get the elbows out, and I'm a little surprised. I thought he'd want to solidify the win and then just go have some fun next week, but he's all for it. He's looking for another victory tonight and doing a great job this far. He's sitting, I believe, in second right now in the amateur race behind Luis Grullon, who is looking at an overall podium right now.
Winners want to win, Rich. You don't see Max Verstappen going out there and saying, "Oh, I just want to finish second." They want to win every race, no matter what. They could have, it could come down to only needing to get on the grid to win the race. They don't care. They're going to go out there and try and win. But we pop back here a little bit further in the field. We got Fernando Torres trying to chase down Adam Ostrich and Devin Brock up ahead. Devin Brock back up into 10th place. There's a couple of cars pit ahead of him, but he's got a ton of pressure from Adam Ostrich and Fernando Torres behind him. We saw Torres have a little bit of a incident with, I believe that was Tony early on, or was it Joey Costello? I can't remember which one of the Costellos it was that went off a little wide. So Torres a little involved in something early on. We have another number of drivers bumping and banging out there, but it's like Blake Seedy making a mistake that's going to allow Artie Mercedes to get around him. Josh Spears is going to be sniffing up Blake Seedy's baked ziti he's got in the oven right now, trying to take away that position too as well. Currently Ziti holding on to 8th place. He'd like to get back around Artie Mercedes to regain that position he just lost.
Yeah, it's been a good battle. We're coming up in the 17-minute mark. Let's take a little replay of this action going on, because you can go wide, but that's just a little bit too wide, and there's just no way to maintain your speed when you're out on the dirt there. And that's how the position was taken. Blake Ziti, though, back on pace, following hard on the back of Artie Mercedes. Blake looking to get that position back that he gave up earlier, but Artie's wanting none of it. Artie doing a great job. Oh, getting a little bit loose as on the exit of that corner, but maintaining position. It's a really tough. Oh, we've got Blake charging hard, but really not a place you're going to make a pass unless you get very, very fortunate.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't spill any of his pasta he's carrying around with him, Rich. That'd be a shame. But
well, at least not the boiling water anyway.
Putting a ton of pressure on Artie Mercedes. You can see how hungry Blake is to try and get back that spot that he just lost moments ago. He's back to where he qualified in 8th place, but Artie Mercedes up 4 spots right now, currently in 7th spot from where he qualified. But getting a little closer up front, or sorry, not up front, between Jim Feliz and Luis Gruya. What I was going to say is our leader up front opened up that gap almost 3 seconds now over Jim Feliz. Feliz was battling with Mendonça and Grullon. Mendonça came in for an early pit. I think he might have, I thought he might try and save some fuel there, Rich, but maybe he's just trying to get out of some clean air, thinking that he had a little more pace than these 2 drivers and didn't want to battle, where he could put in some hot laps. But right now, Grullon putting the pedal to the metal, as they would say, trying to close down on Feliz, and he's doing it here now. He's got that gap down to 8/10 between he and Feliz. Grullon, a strong showing from the AM driver here for the CRT Chabal team.
Yeah, Grullon had a race victory last week, so looking to repeat again this week. Luis sitting in 3rd right now overall. One underlying story that we haven't mentioned yet, Rob, of the early people taking pit stops, David Mendonça was in his stall less than 10 seconds. Everybody else is in the 12.5 second range and up. So I'm wondering if David took enough fuel, or did he save enough fuel to make such a very quick stop in pit lane?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out as the race goes on. But we did see timing and scoring do a bit of a Rolex 24 hours on us in the last race, where it cut the race short by a half a second or so on us. We were expecting one more lap, and Barney pulled back the white flag, said, hell no, I'm throwing out the checker. I've done enough in this one, and it's the race.
Well, you know, he took 3 or 4 weeks off, and he said, hey, enough of this. Like, I'm done. I'm not doing one more lap. You didn't pay me enough for this. We're going to pick it back up. Emmett Lindquist holding off Matt Stadnick. Emmett Lindquist sitting in 4th right now. Matt Stadnick, our 2nd place amateur, sitting in 5th. A great battle going on. Oliver Rodriguez Santos right behind them. A 3-car train going down. I'd expect some pit stops coming up shortly for these drivers, although we're only at the halfway point. They can certainly go at least another couple of laps, I would think, Rob.
I would think probably at least there, Rich. So we'll see. It doesn't look like any of them really holding tight. Oh, possibly Lindquist. Lindquist's coming in, I think. Oh, he almost didn't make the pit line there. We'll have to see if he gets a unsafe entry there. It looked like it was really tight to not making the line for pit entry. So we'll see how long he's in his stall, but he's going to be into as well. So we're seeing a lot of the Solpec drivers, team drivers, coming in early for their services. We got a couple of the drivers, Devin Brock, Douglas Curry in the pits too. Oh, Devin Brock. I'm not sure if he knows where the pit entry is, Rich. Looks like he's,
I think he knows, but he was going backwards, and it's hard to go through pit lane backwards. Although I think I've seen you do that once before in a race, actually. And
I did, yes.
And it was here, no doubt, no less. It was a couple of years ago in a race we were in, but yeah, that's not the preferred line, unfortunately. Matt Stadnick, head of Oliver Rodriguez Santos. And let's follow along. Oh,
he got some help. That's what happened there. I'll have to see if we can find another angle there of that. We might need to get a cockpit view from, who was that? I think that was Fernando Torres. That yeah, it looks like he got spun around there, tapped. I'm not sure if he was trying to head into the pits or not there, Rich,
that's
but really got a little bit of help.
Really going to cost him with an unsafe pit lane entry. That's going to give him a penalty and put him in pit lane for a lot longer than he really wanted. Not that he wanted to go in there to begin with. Very, very unfortunate for Devin Brock, who got off to that great start, had that incident through Sunset, and then an unfortunate incident, not his fault, causing him to go into pit lane.
Yeah, we'll see how long he's in there, but it looks like he's taking a look at the clock, he was in there for 1:28, so definitely got a unsafe pit entry charge there. Unfortunate way for a strong start for Devin Brock to broil down, but back up to this battle here between Matt Stadnik and Oliver Rodriguez Santos. A little bit of a connection issue there for Rodriguez Santos. We saw that last week too as well, where he was blinking in and out. I think we actually asked Matt about that in the interview after, and he said it was a little unnerving. You never know where that car is going to pop back up again. So looks like Rodriguez Santos' connection a little better this week, but still not 100% stable.
Yeah, not 100% stable, but last week it was almost like a flashing amber light. It was every second he was on, every second he was off, and definitely a lot better tonight, and that'll make the racing a lot better for all the drivers. Matt Stadnik doing a great job thus far, looking to solidify his championship lead. Jim Feliz, though, still under pressure. Luis Grullon doing a great job as our top amateur, and let alone just doing a great job overall. Luis Grullon really finding some pace these last few weeks here. He's really been up there a couple of times with 2 race victories this season thus far, looking for his 3rd.
Yeah, it looks like Grullon really feeling it here tonight, putting a ton of pressure on the back of Jim Feliz up ahead, our current 3rd place driver in the pro side of the championship. So he's caught up to him. Doesn't look like he has the raw pace to really get any closer and make a move around. Or again, he could potentially be trying to save some fuel here. But we're past the halfway mark now, onto the back end of the race. So the rest of our drivers who haven't been into pit service yet, which looks like our top 9, and none of them have been in for service, so we expect to see them in a matter of laps or 2. But it'll be interesting to see once the cycles all go around, Rich, where everybody kind of joins back up. As we've had a little bit of separation in the field as some drivers come in for service and some haven't.
Well, that's the nice thing with the wide pit window. It allows for differing strategies based on the race conditions, the traffic, how you're feeling. You're getting a lot of pressure like Emmett Lindquist was getting earlier. You come in, relieve a little bit of that pressure, reset yourself, get back in the groove, get things going again. And we're seeing a very variety of pit strategies tonight. People coming in real early to going as long as possible till every last drop of fuel is run out of that tank.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt for sure, Rich, but still our tightest battle on track right now as Rodriguez Santos has come into pit. So that's going to relieve some pressure from the back of Matt Stadnik. We're still waiting for Jaquez, Feliz, Grullon, Stadnik, Ziti, Ostrich, and Torres to come in for service. So right now our highest placed car that's had service right now is David Mendonça, currently in 8th place. So we'll have to keep an eye on where he cycles through once Feliz and Jaquez come into pit.
Yeah, I would, with that fantastic pit time he had, I expect him to be right up front, all depending on how Fernando Jaquez did. It's just a matter of another lap or so, and I think we're going to get our answers, Rob. Fernando Jaquez really extending the gap over 3 seconds here as he's coming around through the final couple of corners, through turn 16, making his exit out onto the straightaway, going down towards the sunset curve. Let's see if he makes a pit stop this time through.
I'm going to take and say I think he's going to come in. I think the window is more or less closed. We'll see. If not, he might have only one more lap of fuel. See how wide he takes it out into the entry of Sunset, then cuts it right back tight as he can close to the wall. That's signaling he's coming in. There it is. So our leader coming into the pits now. Looks like Luis Grullon going to follow him. Jim Feliz feels like he has enough fuel to go around for one more lap. So hopefully he can make it back, as his stall is going to be after the start finish line, which can sometimes throw your pit calculator off a little bit, Rich. If your stall is after the start finish line, it shows you have maybe just over a little bit of a lap of fuel. I've been caught once or twice by that before on tracks where the start finish line is either just after pit exit just at the very start of pit entry or just after midway point, and your stall is a little after the start finish line. The calculator sometimes throws up a little bit of an error. You think you can go one more lap and you come into the pit lane spinning and sputtering. So hopefully Feliz has enough fuel, but David Mendonça right now in second place. He was able to leapfrog Fernando Jaquez with that quick quick pit stop you mentioned, Rich. So hopefully he's got enough fuel. He can battle him and hold him off. But this is going to be interesting here to see with about 12 and a half minutes to go.
Yeah, if he's got enough fuel, they're going to go one less lap than everybody else thought, except for David. David definitely the quickest person in pit lane, and the only person who was even close to him was Oliver Rodriguez Santos. But Fernando Hakas wanting none of second place. Well, I guess they're battling for third right now, but second overall, because Fernando Hakas is charging hard, trying to apply pressure, trying to get David Mendonça to make a mistake. Who knows? Maybe David doesn't have enough, has to save a little bit. Hakas is there just in case that opportunity presents itself.
Let's take a look at currently in fourth place, Rich, Luis Grullon. Having a look at his time in the pits, almost similar to David Mendonça. Mendonça had a 41.1 cone-to-cone time, pit entry to pit exit. Luis Grullon, 41.4, and that's allowed him to close up on the back of Fernando Hakas. Now only 1.8 seconds back between this battle for what is right now second and third. Could potentially be first and second as we see Jim Feliz popping into the pits. So we'll see if that extra lap was enough for Feliz to open up a bit of a gap over Mendonça and Hakas as they're battling right now, coming down the back straight heading into Sunset Bend. So this will be interesting to see where they all filter out through. We could have a 4-car battle here heading down to the final 10 minutes, Rich.
Well, that's what we sure hope for, and it's going to make for an exciting finish if that's the case. And Jim Feliz starting to make his exit. David Mendonça, Fernando Hakas, Luis Grullon down the straightaway. Here we go, folks. It looks like Jim Feliz is going to come out of this in third place, and he's going to be a little bit of the loser in this battle of pit strategy. But David Mendonça getting lots of pressure applied by Fernando Hakas. Jim Feliz warming up those tires behind. Luis Grullon trying to close everybody down.
It wasn't for Jim Feliz wasn't for without having a quick pit stop though, Rich. 41.3 cone-to-cone time for Jim Feliz. So just a slower out lap, or sorry, I guess it would be in lap coming into the pits is what cost him that time there. But he is right on the back of Hakas. So 3-car battle. If Grullon can get up in there, 4-car battle potentially for top 3 steps on the podium here with 10 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, we've had a great race thus far tonight. Really, we're on 15th lap of this Sprint Series Week 9 race, and man, these guys are putting on a great show. We've had some tough elbows out racing. We've had some good clean passing, and we've had some good tight battles. 4 cars here, all looking for 3 podium spots. Luis Grullon falling a little bit behind, but his nose is right there in case anybody makes a mistake ahead of him.
Yeah, I think this one's going to come down to either somebody making a mistake or it's going to have to be a real deep lunge into a braking section for someone to take away this right now from David Mendonça. So we'll see if that Acura, which has a little better pace in a straight line, is able to pull up on the back of the Porsche. But that's, based in the fixed setups. The open setups where they can tweak the setup a little more. It'd be interesting to see. It looks like Mendonça is running a real low wing. He's able to stay out ahead of that Acura of Hakas through the high-speed sections. Actually, it looked like he opened it up a little bit, but Hakas is using the superior brakes, that Acura, to really dive it into Sunset to close that gap. So into turn 1, we'll see if Hakas looks to the inside, not quite close enough to make a lunge here, Rich. He's going to have to try and wait to possibly turn 5 to make that move.
Yeah, I mean, David Mendonça has actually surprised me a lot tonight, Rob. He qualified third, but I was not expecting the pace that he has shown and being able to hold off, Fernando Hakas, Jim Feliz. He's done a great job at doing it through pit strategy, but still, once you get that job done, he's done a great job of defending his position and maintaining the gap and making sure the guys behind aren't able to take opportunities and get those spots back. Good job on David Mendonça's part.
Yeah, no doubt. We've seen him perform throughout the season, so it shouldn't be all that much of a surprise, but it is interesting to see the Porsche, which I've said it time and again, in a straight line, one of the slower GT3s. But he's been able to extract the pace that he needs out of it to stay ahead of Hakas and Feliz. But it's only a matter of 4 or 5 laps. Actually, sorry, I shouldn't even say that. I get myself all caught up with the timing tower. I got us shortchanged this last time, Rich, so I'm going to say probably about 3. if we're lucky, maybe 4 more laps in this one.
Yeah, we're going to have to look at Barney as they cross the start-finish line, I think, anytime after 37 minutes because, Barney's kind of calling the end of the race whenever he sees fit tonight based on what we've seen thus far. But Matt Stadnik really, really applying pressure to Oliver Rodriguez Santos. Oliver Rodriguez Santos doing a great job of defending, saying, and not right now, Matt, this is my spot.
Yeah, so it looks like Santos was able to get back around Stadnik through the pit cycles. We saw Stadnik got ahead of Santos when they were bumping and banging on the front straight, but they got Emmett Lindquist not too far ahead, only 2 seconds up the track for Lindquist, currently in 5th spot, up 1 spot from where he started. So Lindquist will be trying to chase down Luis Grullon on that battle up ahead, but he's got a long way to go, 4.7 seconds. He's pretty much going to be relegated to holding on to 5th place at this point in time, not really wanting to make any mistakes, to fall back into the clutches of Santos and Stadnik in behind. But it looks like we got a battle up front. Hawkes making a move on the inside of Mendonça. Mendonça trying to fight back. Looks like Hawkes is going to make that spot stick. Mendonça not ready to just give it up to him, though. He's trying to find a way back by. He's almost kissing the back bumper of Fernando Hawkes as they go 2x2 into the next corner. We'll see a battle of the late breakers here. If Mendonça, can he get the switchback on him? Hawkes going defensive, holding off Mendonça as it stands right now, but Mendonça looking really racy, wants to get back up into P1. Jim Felice there to pick up the pieces if something happens between these two drivers.
Yeah, Fernando Hawkes is doing a great job of showing us how great that Porsche or the Acura can brake in a late break, but Mendonça, wow, doing a little bit better job on that corner, and that allows him to go side by side, but Hawkes has got the inside line. That's going to leave Mendonça nowhere to go. Jim Felice getting real hungry here, looking for a spot, but they're too wide, and there's just not room enough for 3 cars here.
Yeah, Jim Felice has the best seat in the house for this battle right now, Rich. He's also going to hold off Luis Grullon behind. You can see in the camera there, Grullon almost kissed Felice's tailpipe there onto the back straight. It's going to be a matter of who can get the better run. Looks like Felice got a better run onto the the straight than Hawkes did. Hawkes had to bail a little bit, but even then he still pulls up alongside of David Mendonça as they head towards sunset. We'll see here Hawkes on the preferred line, the inside line. Mendonça's going to go wide, try and cut back across here. Felice thinking about sticking his nose up the inside. They're going to battle around for another one, Rich. What a battle here, that lap across the start-finish line there. That's going to finish up lap 18 or 17. They're going to start lap 18 into turn 1. Grullon looking to try and find a way around Felice too as well. So anyone can win right now out of these top 4, or even worse, Rich, we could see them all wreck, and then that'd make Emmett Lindquist top spot in behind, but he's actually closing in while they continue to battle here.
Yeah, that's been fabulous racing, and I can't believe how tight Fernando Hawkes took Sunset Curve. I mean, Fernando Hawkes, there was just inches separating him from the inside wall at one point, and using that tight line to his full advantage to open up a little bit of a gap now, a little bit of breathing room to Dave Mendonça behind. These 4 cars really separated from the pack now by about 3 seconds to 5th place Emmett Lindquist. It's 4 cars, 3 podium spots. We're going to find out in a couple of laps who finishes where.
Yes, unfortunately, one of these drivers, Rich, is going to be left off the podium and just kind of holding his hat in his hands, thinking about what could have been about a podium position. But right now, it looks like it's getting a little bit of separation. Hawkes is starting to pull away from David Mendonça. Looks like Mendonça might have used up everything he had trying to hold off Hawkes. We've seen Hawkes lead the majority of the race up to this point, and we're starting to see him starting to leg out ahead of Mendonça. The real battle right now might be coming down to who can gain P3 between Felice and Grullon. Felice currently holding down that spot, but we see Grullon ducking and diving each time they come into any corner, trying to find a way to upset Jim Felice, force a mistake, gain that spot, and Emmett Lindquist kind of lingering in the background there. Fortunately, I think he's going to run out of time to try and close up on this battle up ahead.
Yeah, Hawkes spent two more seconds in his stall than Mendonça, so there's no question he's got enough fuel. He can go full out, full tilt, not lift or anything, and it looks like he's definitely doing that now. He's trying to extend that lead and make things a little easier on himself. It looks like we've probably got 2 laps to go now. Barney was not waving that white flag there, so it's really now or never. As Mendonça goes a little wide, but Feliz not quite close enough to take advantage, but definitely close enough to tighten it right up in that battle for second right now.
Yeah, Felice saw an opportunity there to potentially take away second spot. Mendonça dropped a couple tires onto the dirt, but fortunately for him, it wasn't enough of a time penalty that allowed Felice to look up the inside. So he's going to have to try and find another way around. But it looks like something happened to Kevin Simpson not too long ago. Let's take a quick look here while we have a moment. See what happened. It looks like he's making a move up the inside of Fernando Torres in the Porsche. Going to drive deep into the braking section. Oh, he's just going to lose the back end of the Acura. He's going to swing around. Fortunately for Kevin Simpson, he warned us, a track that he's not all that happy about racing at. It's seemed to have come out to bite him this week, Rich.
Yeah, our most honest racer award goes to Kevin Simpson, unfortunately. We're going to pick back up Matt Stadnik. Matt Stadnik sitting in second in the M, 7th overall, having a great battle with Oliver Rodriguez-Santos. This battle's been going on most of the night. We're 38 minutes in, and I think they've been battling since about 30 seconds in, and it's just a matter of who's going to be where at the end. Right now, Oliver Rodriguez-Santos holding an advantage over the amateur driver.
And just behind them, we still got their teammates. Look at that. Artie Mercedes and Blake Seedy battling it out too as well. So we had a battle for 7th and 8th between an SRTE driver and a CRT driver, and then 8th and 9th between another SRTE driver and a CRT driver. So battle's still going on throughout this one, Rich, all amongst the top 10. But let's pop back up here and see what's going on for second place. Looks like Mendonça's opened that gap back up over Feliz as we're on the final lap here now. Feliz is going to have to deal with Luis Grullon. Looks like the battle now is for final step on the podium. Feliz currently holding on to it. Grullon trying to find a way to take it away.
Yeah, Grullon having a very good race. Grullon having a back-to-back great races, really looking all over left, right. See if he's got a great exit here so he can make a move going down into the hairpin. Luis Grullon battling hard against Jim Feliz, looking for a third and final podium spot. Luis is making a move and covered off by Jim Feliz on the inside. Grullon tucking in tight, looking for an opportunity maybe a little later on. Right now, it looks like it's his amateur win to lose, but he's looking for more. He's looking for a podium amongst all the big boys.
Yeah, and then we'll pop back to this battle here for 6th and 7th between Rodriguez-Santos and Stadnik. Santos still holding on to that position. Stadnik looks to the outside. Santos going to cover off the defensive move. Stadnik going to try for the crossover. A little better exit there for Stadnik, but not enough room to force the nose up in the inside of Rodriguez-Santos to make that move stick and stay. So they're going to try it again into tower corner. It looked like a little bump there. Stadnik just going to tap the back end of that Acura. We've seen them kind of the blows earlier on, but looks like everything's copacetic right now. But pop back up with our leader heading into the final time. Rich down the back straight. He's got 1.2 seconds over David Mendonça. Mendonça another 1.3 over Jim Feliz. Feliz now looks like he's opened up about 7/10 over Luis Grullon. So barring any major catastrophe here in the final corner, that's going to be our top 3 finishers. Barney's got the white flag out. He quickly puts it away, and there's the checkered.
Hey, way to go, Barney. We had some great battling. Congratulations, Fernando Acas, with David Mendonça, Jim Feliz, Luis Grullon, Emmett Lindquist, rounding out your top 5.
And it looks like Santos going to hold off the charge from Stadnik. Ziti going to get around Mercedes to hold on to 8th place, where he qualified, no doubt. Josh Spears is going to come home ahead of Bassano and Ostrich. Fernando Torres looks like he's going to hold on to 13th place. And Kevin Simpson, not the race he was, well, I guess it's kind of the race he was envisioning, but not the race he would have wanted. And Devin Brock, from a great start to unfortunate incidents throughout this one, he's fallen back in 15th place, and it looks like he's still out there finishing up his final lap here. It'll be the last car on the lead lap.
Yeah, Devin had a fantastic start, and that little spin in Sunset really cost him. And then the little tap exiting Sunset going onto the front straight that sent him into the pits with the penalty applied just really finished his night off, unfortunately. But nice to see him continuing on and finishing this race nonetheless.
Yeah, he's in a bit of a points battle, Rich. I can't remember exactly who he was battling with and what the spread was, but when I was doing the points up, I remember he was fairly close there in the points. So definitely going to try and gain as many as he can. Try and make the best of a bad race, no doubt. But that's going to wrap it up here for the race at Sebring in the Sprint Series. Just waiting for timing and scoring to give us the final results. And here we go. We should have a look at them coming up here now as Fernando Haka is going to bring it home. Top spot, David Mendonça in second. Jim Feliz started on pole. He's going to bring it home in third. Luis Grugnon in fourth. Emmett Lindquist rounding out the top five. Oliver Rodriguez-Santos in sixth. Matt Stadnick in seventh. Blake Ziti didn't spill his boiled water or his pasta to bring it home in eighth. Artie Mercedes in ninth. And Josh Spears is going to round out the top 10.
And then we had Adam Ostrich, followed by Ivan Bassano, Fernando Torres, and Kevin Simpson. Devin Brock rounding out our finishers on the lead lap. And then we had Douglas Curry 6 laps down, Tony Costello 12 laps down, and Joey Costello not having his best race 15 laps down.
Yeah, it's a race for some to remember, Rich, and a race for others to forget, no doubt. But so we got a number of drivers in the chat here. Who do we got here? We got Blake Ziti, David Mendonça, Jim Feliz. Let's catch up quickly with our current AM points champion, Matt Stadnick. Rich, why don't you see how his race went?
Hey, Matt, congratulations on tonight. Great battling going on. We saw you quite a lot tonight on the racetrack. How'd that race go for you?
Oh man, that was fun. I'm sweating. I think my pit stop sort of screwed me a little bit. I took a little extra fuel thinking that I was going to need it, and then I came back out behind them, Emmett and Oliver. So I'm like, oh crap, now I got to try to get past them again. But I think we had the pace to be a little bit more forward. But that's how it goes, right? I mean, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you and Oliver were. I mean, it seemed to be you were battling pretty much the whole race. Except for when you guys were in the pits and opposite each other. But made for some exciting action on the broadcast for us. Next week we go to Imola.
Yeah.
It looks like you've got the championship wrapped up now unofficially. What are you expecting from Imola?
I like Imola. It'd be interesting to see what car is going to really pull away. I did some laps the other night, and the Porsche didn't feel bad, but I think we know that the Acura has been pretty good pretty much everywhere this season, so I wouldn't count anybody out with the Acura. And Grullon seems to have found his groove with the McLaren, so we'll see.
He's definitely got some mojo going on.
Yeah, he definitely found it. But it's going to be good racing, I think. Sort of hard to pass there.
We look forward to seeing you there. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, just everybody, you guys, the team, and I look forward to the last race.
Well, we look forward to seeing you there. And Rob has put up unofficially that you're the AM Championship winner on the broadcast. So, hey, if Rob says it, then I guess it's so. So congratulations from us, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Good night.
That was our championship winner in AM. I'm going to inaugurate him unofficially, Matt Stadnick. It looks like we've got a couple other drivers. Let's see. What do we got here? Let's pull Blake Ziti in here. Blake, hell of a race there. You were involved in a number of battles up and down through this one. Looks like you got involved in a bit of a battle there with Artie Mercedes towards the end. You were able to come out on top, hold on to 8th place where you qualified. How'd the race go from your seat?
race was actually a lot of fun. Me and Artie and somebody else in the beginning there. I just can't really remember as we speak, but really tight racing, really fair and respectful. So that was a lot of fun. That was probably the most fun I've had actually in a long time.
We made the joke a couple times there, just because we've talked to you about it before with your profile picture with the ZD box of ZD. We were hoping that when you were getting a little elbows out there, bumping and banging, that you weren't spilling any hot water or your pasta around in the car while you're out there. But next week we head to Imola, track with some nasty curbs on it, and I know you're driving the Acura. It's a car that's generally not all that happy hitting them, bumping up the curbs. So what are you expecting to encounter there?
I really like Imola. I think that with the week that we put down this of practice, we'll be able to dial it in, and any curves that seem hazardous, we sure will miss them. I promise you that. But it was really fun racing today, and I look forward to next week. If the racing was like anything like tonight, it's going to be great for the broadcast. That was really, really just exhilarating the whole time.
Yeah, it was all throughout the top 10. There was battles top to bottom. But before we let you go, Blake, anybody you want to shout out here?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to thank my whole team, SRTE, and especially Matt, just for sticking on late at night and just giving me pointers. Any feedback that you gave me has been really a huge help. And as always, I'd just like to give you guys thanks for being out here with us and putting on the broadcast. It's awesome to have you.
Well, we appreciate it, Blake. Best of luck to you and your teammates next week at Imola, and we hope to see you back again.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good one. So that was Blake Seedy. Let's pull Jim Feliz in here. Finished third, currently third coming into this one in the Pro Championship. Jim, you look promising. Start on pole this one. How'd your race shape out for you?
Yeah, I think I outperformed a little bit in qualifying. I got a great tow off my teammate Matt, so I think I exceeded expectations with the pole. I knew that both David and Fernando had pretty phenomenal race pace, so I know it was going to be pretty hard to keep those guys behind me tonight. But yeah, I mean, a hard-fought third. Some interesting stuff going on there with David. He made a nice undercut. Found a gap in traffic and was able to just, get by me in the pits. And coming out of the pits, it was all bunched up again. Had a pretty good dice with Fernando and David. Was trying not to get too much in the mix, just in case they, had an incident and let me through. But, they were pretty spot on, pretty good driving from both those guys tonight.
Yeah, well done. We had mentioned that on the broadcast, it looked like you and David were the two quickest pit stop times from cone to cone. 41.1 for him, 41.3 for you. So it wasn't lack of trying on getting on and off pit road there tonight. So well done for you, Jim, to be able to bring it home at P3. We head to Imola next week. I just mentioned to Blake that the Acura, anytime I've driven it, it's not really happy at the curbs, and Imola's got some really nasty curbs. He said you guys are going to work on that this week. How comfortable are you feeling heading into next week, the final round of the championship?
Yeah, I mean, Imola's a tough track. Got a lot of high-speed stuff, some pretty monster curbs, like you mentioned. But I think it's going to be fun going there. Just saw Formula One there this past weekend, so I think it's going to be fun to take a visit there as well.
Good stuff, Jim. Best of luck to you next week in your championship chase. We hope to see you back again.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Richard.
Take care. So that was Jim Feliz, our third place winner. And then we'll finish up with David Mendonça, who brought it home second. Rich, why don't you see how David's race went?
Hey, David, congratulations on second place. I was a little concerned if you had enough fuel. How was that for you? Did you have lots to get to the finish line?
No, I was having to save quite a bit. Ended up sputtering across the finish line, so I messed up by 1 liter. I think if I would have put 1 liter more, I would have been able to hold Fernando off a little bit longer. Probably not to the end, but maybe a couple more laps.
Yeah, you took the early pit stop. I was looking at it. I'm like, man, you took 2 seconds less in the stall than Fernando, and I don't know, but you made it. You made it a great battle nonetheless.
Yeah, that was an awesome little fight for a couple laps there. But man, he was just so fast, so I had really nothing for him. But it's fun to race with somebody like that gives you some room. It was a lot of fun.
You definitely have redeemed yourself well. You're coming back strong the last couple of weeks. Nice to see after your strong weeks 2 and 3. It's nice to see you back up here on the podium, and we look forward to seeing you at Imola. How's Imola going to do for you?
Yeah, I like Imola. Porsche's strong there, so it should be pretty fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, Solpec Precision Racing, Bruzy, and my teammates for the help, and congratulate everybody else Fernando, and who won the amateur? Was it Blake?
The amateur was actually won by Grullon. Luis Grullon won the
Grullon.
amateur.
Yeah, so congratulations to those guys, and hopefully see everybody next week.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to it. Tonight was some fabulous racing up and down way throughout the field, and we're hoping for some more of that at Imola next week. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, see you guys.
Okay, that was our second place finisher, David Mendonça. So I'm going to give a little tidbit here, Rich. I watched, I'm going to say it might have been 3 weeks ago now, a race on another broadcaster. I had it on while I was doing some paperwork, and David Mendonça was in it, and it was a GT3 race, much like we do this evening. They had 3 categories of drivers. They had their AM, their Pro-Am, and well, they're essentially aliens, but
Aliens?
these guys were like 7,000, 8,000 K iRacing drivers. And David Mendonça at one point in time was out front of all these guys, leading them around, and the race was at Imola, and he was driving a Porsche. So I'm going to put it out there now. I expect David to be a monster next week at Imola. We'll see if my prediction reigns true, but I suspect we will probably see him, if not at the front, definitely battling up front next week. So it'll be interesting to see as we take the Throttle Freaks inaugural season in the Sprint and Fixed Series to Imola to finish this one off, and I expect it's going to be a real blast, Rich.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, especially after coming off Formula One there this past weekend. So we're all familiar with the track, and man, you're scaring me with that comment about what you saw with David Mendonça. So.
Well, for myself, Rob Campbell, and my partner Richard Swindells in the booth here, we're going to sign off, and we'll see you next week for the finale of the Throttle Freaks season. Thanks for tuning in.
Good night.